camera, whatever you want to make it.
Evening everyone, welcome to the fourth and most somber day of the Lament Gala. As many of you are aware, Stanton has only one daughter left that hasn't been publicly mourned during this week's ceremonies. From the crimson stains of this simulated murder scene to the aroma of faux stormal soup, which I must remind you is strictly vegan, today is dedicated to the tragedy of Crusader. We're here to witness the cost of progress and the profound loss that occurred when the UAE effectively auctioned off a living ecosystem. While I cannot deny that many of us find Orison to be a breathtaking place to live, we must confront the uncomfortable truth that our sanctuary was built upon a graveyard of policy and greed. I am not merely speaking of a business transaction, I am talking about the moral bankruptcy that paved the way for the sale of this world in the year 2865. That was 91 years ago, a blink of an eye in cosmic terms, yet long enough for the collective memory of what was lost to begin to fade into the fog of the atmosphere. To understand our grief, we must look back to 2855. Over a century ago, the UAE constructed a massive floating military base, a sprawling dry dock designed to repair and refuel the mightiest capital-class ships. It was during this construction that the stormals were first truly observed. Imagine it, these gentle mountainous creatures, drifting through the pastel clouds like silent sentinels of the sky. They didn't flee from our industry, they were curious. They flew so close to the platforms that workers could feel the vibration of their low frequency, shongs in their very bones. When night fell, they didn't vanish, they glowed with a soft, haunting bioluminescence that turned the sky into a tapestry of living stars. Their movements and social structures displayed an intelligence that was undeniable to anyone with eyes to see, an ancient, peaceful wisdom that predates our arrival in this system. But then came the budget deficits. When the UAE found its coffers empty and its ambition overextended, these majestic beings were suddenly reclassified. They were no longer sentient wonders. They were deemed simple animals, biological resources with no legal standing. Every protection was stripped away with the stroke of a pen. When Stanton II was sold to Kelly Kaplan in 2865, the floodgates of cruelty opened. The storm walls were transformed from the crown jewels of the sky into targets for poachers and commercial hunters. The upper atmosphere, the very cradle where they once danced and sang, became a toxic wasteland of industrial fumes and the terrifying shadow of human hunters. The very humans they had once investigated with innocent curiosity became their executioners. Driven by the fear of our species, they were forced deeper into the crushing pressures of the lower atmosphere. Down there, it is nearly impossible for them to ride the thermal air currents they rely on for survival, and even more difficult for them to reproduce. We brought them to the absolute brink of extinction. They were critically endangered only a few short years ago, dying in the dark where no one could hear them. For decades, those with the power to intervene looked the other way. They called it an unfortunate turn in history, or more chillingly, natural selection. Well, I stand before you today to declare that there is nothing natural about the systematic genocide of a species for the sake of shiny rocks and industrial convenience. These creatures were hunted as a fleeting delicacy, slaughtered for their meat and the precious silk of their air pouches to satisfy the vanity of the wealthy. We traded a species for credits, and in doing so we lost a piece of our own humanity. But the tide is finally turning, no more silence, no more apathy. I am proud to announce that these incredible creatures are currently under formal review for a total reclassification. This isn't just paperwork, it is a restoration of their right to exist. Thanks to the tireless collective efforts of the CCF and our dedicated supporters, we have initiated revolutionary research on atmospheric pylons. These beacons will act as guides, helping the storm walls navigate away from toxic fly zones and back to safety. We are actively mapping trade routes to establish permanent no-fly zones, ensuring that their migratory paths are never again interrupted by the roar of engines. With your help, we can return these sovereigns to the skies of Orison. This isn't just about tourism or corporate profits, though the return of the storm walls will undoubtedly enrich this world in every sense. It is about a legacy of healing. We are fighting to raise a generation of children who will not have to learn about the beauty of the storm walls through flickering holograms or dusty textbooks. We want them to look up from the platforms of Orison and see the bioluminescent glow with their own eyes, and with their ears hear the haunting, melodic song of the sky dwellers echoing through the clouds. Think of the artists who will be inspired, the creative engineers who will learn to design in harmony with wildlife, and the scientists who will study the wisdom of a species we almost erased. The murder scene you see today, the fake blood, and the faux suit. These are harsh reminders of the horrific past that was. They are here to force us to look at what we are fighting to prevent from ever happening again. Your choices today, your support for conservation, will directly shape our collective tomorrow. I was heartbroken when I uncovered the true history of this world, a history that no amount of cherry blossom trees or pastel-colored plushies could ever fully mask. But my heartbreak has fueled a story for the future. We are working toward a day of celebration, a day where children can attend festivals of joy and remembrance. While we, the adults, carry the weight of the sadness so they don't have to, we remember the tragedy so that they may inherit the wonder. Now, without further ado, for the final lament of the 2956 Gala, I ask you to open your hearts. Let the grief of the past transform into the resolve of the future. Please listen closely as we perform Paper Laws and Steel.
The sky was once a sanctuary where the giants of the vapor strayed, floating on their silken bladders in the blue and gold light they played. But the laws of man are paper, and the Fair Chance Act is dry, classified as simple animals, stripped of status in the sky. Oh, Crusader, with your platforms of steel, you build your empires on what you won't feel. Horizon hums in the home of the dead, while the giants are dying for the gold in their bed. A lament for the storm while the ghost in the cloud, buried in silence and an industrial shroud, an industrial shroud. At the Cloudview Center they gather to stare, at the last of the wonders that still grace the air. Buy a plushie of Finley, a soft corporate lie, while the poachers hunt bladders in the dark of the sky. They cook up the flesh into gelatinous noodles, ignoring the cries and the corporate doodles. Oh, Crusader, with your platforms of steel, you build your empires on what you won't feel. Horizon hums in the home of the dead, while the giants are dying for the gold in their bed. A lament for the storm while the ghost in the cloud, buried in silence and an industrial shroud, an industrial shroud. Is there intelligence in the soul? Is there a ledger for the wind we stole? Just a loophole, just a price, just the cost of paradise. Finley smiles in the gift shop light.
Hi. So this is the actual voice of Roosevelt. This is the voice of the writer behind everything. I would like to thank you for watching what you've watched so far and listening, and I hope you have enjoyed the narrative that we have been putting out there for you. I've noticed that Google searches and even people have said that using Gemini to find out information about these anything wildlife related on Star Citizen will bring up the Crusaders Creature Fund, which I think is honestly extremely entertaining and amazing that it's actually part of the game, air quotations, in the sense of AI scraping the interwebs for information. So that's pretty amazing. Anyway, tomorrow will be the final event of the Lament Gala, and it will have just pop music and stuff, and I hope you all enjoy it. It has been a very fun project, and who knows, maybe I will actually voice act for that one. I don't know. You know? So, see ya. I hope to see you again another day, and I appreciate you listening till the end of the video to hear my real voice. Bye-bye.